Hello, Soul Tribe. Welcome. This is going to be a Gemini season outlook for all the signs and also with the collective as well outlook on the type of energy that might be presented and manifested during this time for us all. As always, keep in mind that this is only a general reading. Always take what feels right and with what does resonate with your own life experiences during this time. If you would like to have a personal reading with me, please contact me through the email I put in the description box below. Or if you would like to donate and support my channel, you can also do that by following the PayPal link, which is also down below. So, as a general theme for us all collectively, this Gemini season seems to be bringing a sort of standstill between an energy, a transition of an energy of past into the future, and where does that leaves us in the now. So there's a little bit of this type of difficulty settling in the timeline that we are as a collective during Gemini season, because for one part we are still attached to a previous way of doing things, so we're still kind of connected with the past narrative, and for the other, the future one is calling every day more strongly, but we're still on the wait. So it's neither one thing or the other. That leaves us in a sorts of conflict in the now, in the time where we should be more at peace with. So many of us can struggle to find peace during these times. Gemini season can bring expansion of contacts and opportunities, but it's just a connection that is formed, and for many of us it will be very cerebral. So again, there's a lot of mental activity, a lot of talking, a lot of back and forth information, but nothing that leads to a conclusion or to a process to really be grounded and materialized in a way that can be fully satisfying. The collective energy that is presented here for us all is the Three of Wands. It is a positive card. It is a card that inspires positive change coming. But I'm picking that more than that is this division between the past and the future. Is awareness that we are changing, that times are changing, but we don't really know yet what the next months will be for us collectively and individually. And the fact that we don't know brings an atmosphere of excitement, but also fear, because it is the unknown. And because also, again, even though there's a lot of activity in communication, it's a waiting game. So you're going to wait for, the real answers to come up, the real opportunities, the real deals to be formed. Also, for us collectively, Gemini season can anticipate some dialogues that have been, brewing slowly. So it's a time where communication is going to be very important for good reasons and bad reasons. But either we're kind of attracted to rush into saying everything that's on our minds without, again, thinking about what we're saying. And so having this temptation to be, impulsive and jumping to conclusions and even hurt feelings. And in the other side, we're also in a moment where we're afraid to communicate our true intentions and desires. So we experience this type of blockage and need at the same time to communicate. So it's an interesting time for those of us that have been trying to heal communication issues, that have been trying to get something out of their chests, that have been trying to do any type of form any type of contact or alliance, particularly networking or online with the online ways. This is a great time to have moments where we kind of have this type of brainstorming moments. It's a time where we hold on to hope that what's coming, it's better. But I also feel that we are in division, and Gemini season is going to be bringing that strong duality that it's known for even more. There's this strong contrast between division between people, between beliefs, between ideologies, between ways of doing things. And this concerns me because when we see such strong divisions, we see that we become collectively more vulnerable to make errors of judgment, to intolerance, to extremism, to all types of unwanted economical, political, societal changes. Because in division, if we are in division as a collective, we can't get along well unless there's a level of compromise and tolerance that is an understanding that is made from both sides. It puts us more in danger to conflict when we have this type of division that I was speaking between those that identify with one way and those that identify with another. This division, collectively speaking, might be really felt between a more orthodox way of doing things versus a different progressive way of doing things. So the old and the new again. And you can put this to systems, to laws, to anything in our world that is having its hard time transforming without a challenge. And I also feel like there's this level of expansion that can be felt collectively as like this sort of like a birth of a canal, of a via, of a way here that is growing stronger as being the way to the future. Meaning that while we are in tension between the old and the new and the reform that this requires, there's a third channel. There's a way out of this conflict that is being built, and it feels like a silently built, like something that we are unaware of, most likely during Gemini season, but it's almost like something occurring beneath the surface. This type of tunnel of a way out of this division that is created silently. Obviously, that we take this collectively as to the masses and all the things that we are currently facing. And we take this as a collective theme to the personal level, where this division can also be felt. So for us all, it's a time where conflicts, intolerances, sharp differences, big contrasts are going to be felt. It's a time that we might be asked as well to mark a position, like where do we stand in the old or the new? And this is uncomfortable for many. It's time where work that requires investigation, patience, research, connection, communication, online businesses definitely are going to thrive, and things of that nature. This is where the excellence of this energy lies, is in what you can do while you're waiting to ensure that once the changes come or the opportunity comes, you're ready, you're equipped. So it's a time to equip ourselves with the information, with the tools, with all the things we require to then be leaping into the opportunity we're seeking. So let's move into each sign, break it down for each sign. And I'm going to start with Gemini, being that this is Gemini season. And for Gemini, we have the Seven of Cups as the main energy influencing you during the season, which is interesting because the Seven of Cups increases a level and a dose of confusion. So you might be one of those signs, as a mutable sign, and as being your season where you're feeling like there's a load of opportunities. There's so many things popping out of nowhere, knocking at your door, inviting you to be a part of. So you can have more people being interested in you as a friend, as romantic interests, as wanting to do business with you. People are interested in what you're up to, but are all of they interested in you up to for good reason? Some are, some are not. Again, the division and the contrast. So the Seven of Cups is always a call of attention because we don't really are 100% lucid under this influence. We don't really are sure of what we're dealing with here. So you want to wait it out for things to reveal themselves to you with more clarity before you choose from the selection of options, before you select from the options, the various options you're being presented to. You have a lot of ideas, yes. Are they all doable? Are all of them good ideas? Probably not. You need to wait to know what ideas you want to invest. You have possibilities in your love life, in your professional life, in your life and integration. As a human being and as a member of the society and where you want to integrate yourself, you have options. You can choose to be in many different places. But what is the place that is the right one for you to be? Some of you could be exploring a lot of different things during this time and using a lot of your imagination to relieve tension of division, or when you're faced with conflict. It's a time to be mindful of appearances, and not always appearances are what they seem to be. So don't judge anything as being good or bad by the cover. Wait for you to really investigate, hear things deeply, to be sure of where to invest, especially emotionally speaking, because you can be seduced easily under this influence. You can also not be in an energy that is very grounded because things seem so over the top. There's so much enthusiasm as we grow to have expansion of options that we lack perhaps discernment and proper evaluation of those same options we're being given. So just a call of attention when it comes to that, when it comes to not leaping. It's better to wait. It's better safe than sorry, that type of saying. Now, let's move to Cancer. Cancer has the Chariot as their main influence for Gemini season, and it's a good card to have, especially for Cancer. So this is a moment where definitely some of you will be looking up to your future, and some of you might have a strong desire to travel, to move, to leave behind something you have known for a long time. Some of you are leaving behind your household, family dynamics that compete with yours. So basically, if you are in family dynamics where you can't exercise your will without being it a competition or a huge problem, you might be tempted to leave. It's a time where you want to go somewhere else. For some of you, it's almost like it doesn't matter where, you just want to go somewhere else. Some of you want to leave, to extract yourselves from a place or a situation that is making you feel stuck. For some of you, again, the possibility of travel might be presented, the possibility of going somewhere different from where you have been can also be indicated. But there's also a strong notion that you're increasing your energy levels almost like as a preparation to your season, which is going to be next. It's almost like you're feeling here the momentum of your season already. And so you want to be ready. Of all of the signs, you might be one of the few that, if well managed, if the energy is well managed by you during this time, you can definitely be on the lead and ready for a lot of things that other signs and other experiences might not be, because you are one of those that will spot opportunity and that will also not be afraid to leave things behind. And so when we're not afraid to leave the past, we're ready for the future, which is, again, exactly the contrast and the division that we are all facing. So you are one that is ready for the future, which is interesting because usually the Cancer is an energy that is so attached to the past. You're going to be given the right motivation to want to leave. So maybe you have to go through a breakup, a disappointment, a loss, a fight, an argument, something that doesn't work out well, for you to kind of become very aware and sure that that's not where you're supposed to be. So for Cancers that are not where you're supposed to be in your path, Gemini season will reveal you that, and will reveal you with indications of where you should be heading. So Leo, you are another sign that have an interesting combination here, because you also have your own arcana. So Leo has the Strength card, just as Cancer had the Chariot. This is a very interesting thing. So for both of you, but now going to Leo in particular, there's a strong affirmation of your power that is accessible during Gemini season. So your pride, your will, your strength, your courage, your regal energy will be put in display as something that it's essential to survival. I feel like some of you Leos might be in situations where that survival is tested. So you might be facing strong obstacles to your intentions. You might be facing something here like an opponent of sorts. So there could be, again, conflicts with others opposing your interests. There can be blocks in the path that test your patience and your way around them. There can be a feeling of needing to beat down what wants to beat you down. So you need to be kind of almost like in the offense and defense constantly when it comes to what Gemini season brings you, which is both muscle, becoming ever more stronger, but also tense, because while you're waiting for things to get smoother and for things to move right to you, and for you to get to your season. You will fight, or you will be put in positions where the fighting spirit will be a major thing. So Gemini season is not, for some of you Leos, the most calm ones, but is one that can be incredibly assuring. It's like a claim of who you are, a claim of authority, a claim of territory. Some of you might be fighting for that, for what you consider to be yours. So this could be dealing with property, this could be dealing with a relationship that you don't want to lose. This could be your assets, this could be your freedom, but you're not going to definitely be beaten down easily and without trying against any type of attempts to take you down. So basically it's not like you're going to just be submissive to this type of energy. Submission is not allowed for you Leos in Gemini season. You have amazing power with you, and you're learning how to use that power responsibly. And it's like, and with intelligence as well, to apply that power with intelligence, not always by force. So there's also for some Leos that distinction of when to use power through intellect and when to use power through force. Some of you might be experiencing so many intense emotions that when you feel angry, you feel really angry. And when you feel hurt, you feel really hurt. And you're loud about that, because that's the archetype of the Leo, even more emphasized with the Strength Arcana. So it's a loud period where everything affects you deeply. And knowing it's not about not reacting, it's knowing how to react. That it's the key to succeed during these times for you. So let's move to Virgo. Virgo has the Ace of Cups, and there's an omen of peace and recovery for some of you throughout this Gemini season. Some of you are presented with a clean slate from Spirit. You are presented during Gemini season with a lot of clearing, a lot of almost like you're being absolved here from the past, what happened in the past, what kept you in the past, from in particular emotional and spiritual pain. So healing is a major topic for Virgos during this time, but it's not any kind of healing. It's a very purposeful, deep layer of healing. It's like going deep into the cellular level, it's like not just the surface, it's not just the skin that is healing, it's really the soul. So it's a very deep inside out process occurring for some of you Virgos that can leave you feeling quite sensitive, touchy, emotional, hormonal, to a lot of things, because you're moved by an energy during this time that, let's put it this way, it's not from this world. It's almost like you're given an internal, special, spiritual compass of direction. And the compass guides you to love and healing and compassion with all that is occurring in your life and all that is occurring in the world. So you can expect perhaps that this is a moment where some tears are shed when you're observing suffering in the world or around you, or when you're actually also, presented with great moments of love and beauty and, occurrences that feel like miracles. So you're celebrating a lot of the events of this Gemini season with a highly emotional tone. Some of you might have a special relationship with music as well during Gemini season, or with sound. I'm picking that there's some Virgos that can be benefiting here from sound therapy, or you're just very sensitive to sound. For others of you, Gemini season will also bring a new opportunity for your emotional world and for your love life. And it could be that there's an overflowing energy here of a partner into you, you into a partner, or you into the creation of what you want to find in a partner. So there's a lot of potential in all that deals with love, from self-love to one-to-one love to, universal love. So it's a topic that will be handed to you through Gemini season as, that healing chalice to drink from when you're scared, to drink from when you're not feeling good. Because Gemini season spins you a little bit out of your comfort zone, but it puts you in a position that is very special. It's like being given a throne in, a cosmic palace. It's being given the entrance to visit, the garden of the heavens, to speak with the angels, to see in the invisible. Many of you Virgos are really tuning into a frequency that, for those that are not very well developed in the spiritual department, can be difficult to understand and translate. But for other of you Virgos, there's also a message here of you are, the white flag. So some of you Virgos during Gemini season can be discovering that peace relies heavily on you. Tolerance relies heavily on you. You can have this type of role of the peacemaker, of the negotiator, of the healer, of the advocate of love in a moment of division that puts you in the middle of conflict, not wanting that conflict to exist, but wanting that conflict to cease. Now, moving to Libra, you have the Magician. So Gemini season is going to definitely spark up here a lot of things for you, and it's going to increase the opportunity for some of you to use the mutable element of the friendly, sister sign, air sign, which is Gemini, to your advantage. Some of you will know how to use things to your advantage. Some of you will know how to use information to both manipulate or influence situations. Some of you will be doing this in a responsible way. Some of you will be doing this in a way that is self-serving, but either way, the powers of manipulation through your understanding of what's really going on is amazing and quite high. You can be highly stimulated by what's happening around you during this time. You can find that there's a lot to consider, so you don't have in you really a dull moment, because you're very receptive to explore mentally what something can give you, or what something can offer you, or what something can turn out to be. And in that regard, some of you Libras are very inventive, very crafty during this time. So you might be interested in doing a lot of things with your hands in particular, do-it-yourself kind of projects, or just other things that you can do with your hands. For some, again, the master of manipulation, you want to try to take on this word and identify what that might mean for you. But there's a little bit of a danger for some of you Libras to get a little infected or intoxicated in wrong way by your own gifts, meaning that you might have a difficulty setting boundaries for yourself when you know that you're capable of changing things to your favor. You might get really tempted during this time to just make things happen as you see them, as you see that they should happen, meaning that your interests come first. And when we're dealing with others, this is a problem. You might overstep what we consider to be the boundaries between me and the other by inducing in the other ideas, feelings, desires that might not be, naturally born. And just as the same way that you might be manipulating, you might also be manipulated. So you want to be careful during the season that you don't end up having a taste, right, of this, having a taste of your own medicine, being that you're in a great moment to produce, to create, to manifest. We set an intention of what we want to manifest. And if it's meant for us, it will come at a speed of light. If it doesn't come right away or at all, there's plenty of reasons for that. And you want to be sure that you're not forcing anything, but you're actually flowing with that law of attraction, that you're actually flowing with the intentions you're sending to the universe, because definitely during this time they are extremely powerful. And with great power comes great responsibility. That's another tagline for some of you Libras. Now, as we move into Scorpio, you have the Five of Cups, Scorpio. So Gemini season might not be, emotionally speaking, the best ones. It might be a moment where you're very focused, or very much focused, in a lot of emotional losses or things that have passed that left you with a negative mark. So out of the signs here, you can be one of them that is struggling the most with leaving the past narratives into the future ones and really looking up to what's coming ahead as being good. So for some Scorpios, Gemini season is causing negative reactions to be frequent when you're reminded of the change, when you're reminded that you don't have something anymore, or that something is not like this anymore. You know, when we are reminded of what no longer we are or we have, you know, it's like we feel the pain twice, like it's double the pain. And some of you Scorpios could be having moments like this, where you're feeling emotionally exhausted and provoked by these triggers, these reminders of things that have passed that you wish you didn't, but they did. So, Gemini energy in season messes up a little bit with your emotional makeup. And it messes up a little bit with the structure you have built your life around that actually keeps new life in from coming in. And when something is knocking on your door, telling you to leave because it's a place you can no longer live, or because it's in danger, or because you need to leave, simply it's not the place for you to be anymore, you can be in resistance and not want to leave that place. So it's a season that alerts you to your own attachment to something, and for some is a period of your life that has passed. And only when we accept that something has passed, we really start to become available to change. So if you feel like in Gemini, during the Gemini season, things are not good for you, when things are not good for us, we want change. So work on promoting from what you can, from what's in your reach and power, to allow change to happen. I feel like for some of you Scorpios, you might get just disappointed with the flow of an experience during this time. Emotionally speaking, there's a flow that doesn't seem to be occurring in a very satisfactory way. And even though that might be upsetting, again, is the change of how you're emotionally to connect and relate with others. So it's like you're being called to maybe look at your partner in the eyes and reveal your truth. Or maybe you're called to listen more than you speak, or to show up more than to charge. There are changes you're being called out to make that prior to this energy you didn't feel like you needed to, and you would still get it, you'd still get what you wanted. Now that something has been taken from your perhaps power, and you need to adapt to a different type of energy to get you the emotional satisfaction that you desire. Now that you're called to adapt, you cringe. So this is the challenge of Gemini season, is to leave behind what's behind and become open to a new way of doing things, to a new style that you yourself are to personify amongst your relationships and in the world, that actually by personifying this new version of yourself, you're becoming closer to an essence you have been deaf blinded to, an aspect of you 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 didn't want to listen. You didn't want to see or acknowledge as being you. So now we look to Sagittarius. You have the Two of Wands. Some of you Sagittarius are on the outlook of options. And you might be wanting to really move into the future and move into what's next. And you might want to do that fast. And when your plans are not moving fast as you would like them to, you might suffer from some anxiousness, like, why is this person not responding? Why is this situation not occurring? You want things to respond to your action right away. When you're faced with a door that is shut and that will only be open in a few hours, this alone can get you nervous. So there's a little bit of an impatient tone to Sagittarius during this time. Like, you just want things that you're planning to happen according to plan. Well, some of it might, but I also feel like for some of you Sagittarius, there's an alternative route or way of doing things that you will be faced with. And so there would be a need to kind of allow last minute changes to happen without being upset by them. Some of you, this is a control issue. Some of you, your control issues, how you want to control a process to move, is definitely something that Gemini season will bring up, a theme that it will be brought up, because it feels like there's a part to what you desire that, yes, you can control and it's up to you, and a part to it that is out of your control. And yet you're called to work as a team with these two elements, with the element you can control and the element you can't. And this can be felt in your plans, and for some of you also in an association or partnership or relationship where not all is up to you, right? If it would be your choice, maybe you already would be, starting your own business, starting the business. You invited this business partner or investor to have with you, or you would be already married with your significant other. Those type of things. Like, if it would be up to you, things will be moving much faster. And there's a work here of compromise between your will and the will of something that you can control. Some of you also might be tempted here during this time to bend the rules, or to want to bend others to your rules. So this is something that also during Gemini season you want to be mindful, is that things by force or actions like that might backfire to you, because the more you bend, the more you will have to ensure that it stays that way, that it doesn't rise up against you again. So you want to be cautious with your approaches and tactics to have things happening according to your vision. There's an element here, like, yes, there's your vision, but then there's another vision, another opinion different from yours. Does that have to make you and this other part rivals, enemies? No. There can actually be mutual benefits coming from different approaches and visions if there's proper space for that to happen. Next we have Capricorn. In Capricorn you have the Fool. I feel like some of you are also kind of ready to the next thing. Some of you are wanting a very big life change. Like, Gemini season emphasizes here this desire to really change something that affects your life as a whole. Some of you want to change the direction your life is, and you might be wanting to do something completely different, new, out of your element, out of what again is your area of expertise. So you might want a completely different career path, or you might be just suddenly leaving, a conventional contract, marriage, association. You want to be free as a bird during Gemini season. And Gemini season stimulates a lot of this need for Capricorns to be free and to be different, and to search for different ways to results. So some of you could also be taking risks or tempted to take risks. You could be tempted to just, be in an energy that is more about one day at a time than making big plans. And I feel like you're okay with this, or you're growing more comfortable. For those that are not, you're growing more comfortable to be in this type of energy. The problem seems to be for some Capricorns that others around you might not like to see this change in you, or might be concerned you're moving in the wrong direction. For some of you, this division that I spoke initially is going to be felt like that, between you wanting something and people in your life advising you against it, and not understanding that there's a part to you that is like, there's a part to your psyche that feels like this newborn energy. It's just like you're just kind of born into an awareness that is fresh, filled with possibilities, calling for you, for your spirit, for adventure, for your trust. So you might see advice from people in your life as attempts to control you, or again, keep you from flying, keep you from exploring what you're desiring to explore. For some of you Capricorns, you're guided by the sun energy, which is good. There's indeed a sense of destination. There's the sense of destiny, a sense of purpose with where you're suddenly desiring to head. For some of you, their Gemini season brings sudden changes, like sudden change of heart, a sudden change of mind, a sudden change of direction, something that maybe you didn't thought, but then suddenly you start to think, you start to want, to desire, to contemplate. And I feel like some of you Capricorns will be in an energy where like you're fully trusting this type of guidance, this type of attractiveness to an unknown path that represents risk but also represents excitement. Some of you Capricorns simply are looking for excitement during the next weeks. Aquarius, you have the Ten of Pentacles. This is a good energy that represents a lot of how you place yourself amongst your family, but also in society and groups. Some of you, Gemini season is a very social time for some of you, so you might be again dealing a lot with people and trying to, through this contact with people, understand what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, and how you can be helpful. I feel like some of you Aquarius want to be helpful, or you want to participate in a group cause, in a family cause, or in a cause that you feel contributes to something, like a greater thing. You want to have a contribution that you feel reinforces your position in life, or your position amongst your family unit. For some of you, you are a well-adored child. And this well-adored child can be, again, that you are someone that maybe is seen as a very special yet young or naive character. And I feel like some of you Aquarius are looking to be taken seriously, respected as an adult, as a mature version of you, to the eyes of your family or to the eyes of a group. It's like you want to prove yourself to them, to the contribution that you can bring to the table. Some of you feel that you have been judged wrong or wrongly judged just because, you know, you have a different way of doing things. And it feels like some of you also kind of feel guilty for not being as present or as actively, again, participant in certain things within your family life. For some of you also, Gemini season can increase your lust for wealth. So some of you really are thinking about wanting to reach that level of material, you know, security and extreme expansion of material opportunities. And for some of you Aquarius, there might be possibilities through legacy, inheritances, property. There might be possibilities of you winning something. There might be possibilities of you getting what you want, materially speaking, being lucky, materially speaking, because you're kind of given something, or something is passed to you that is either, you know, again, something of the family or something of someone that puts it in your name or desires to pass it to you. For some, many, this will be a material thing, but for others, there will also be this desire to be kind of initiated here. So it's like some of you are being given a lot of jewels coming from people that want to give you their knowledge, that want to give you their advice, that want to give you their experience. And you could also be doing this. You could also be giving your things to your loved ones. You could be wanting to pass to them your property, your resources, your story, your knowledge, something that feels like an inheritance of sorts that allows this other person to receive it, being you or another, to grow stronger and in a more solid position, even in a position of status, than what they had so far. As we move into Pisces, we have the Nine of Cups. So there can be a level of contentment that is deeply felt during this time. You can find that Gemini season brings you opportunities to manifest good things, definitely delicious things into your life, things that feel very much like what you have been praying to, but maybe not believing you could get. I feel like some of you want to add something to your collection of goods. It's like maybe you have already a lot of things you enjoy, but there's this special something you keep desiring, wishing for, praying for, that it might see its way at fruition now during Gemini season. In another way, I also feel like Gemini season for some of you Pisces can kind of make you prone to excess, so to overindulgence at all levels, and you want to just be watchful to the fact that you're not overcompensating for anything. It's like now that you have, imagine now that you have received this great amount of money, you start to go on a spending, spin and crazy amount of waste on just buying things for the sake of buying, or you didn't have much, you know, to eat and suddenly you start eating everything, or you didn't have much time to really be, emotionally connected with loved ones, and then you start overdoing it. Those type of tactics to overcompensate anything are unnecessary and not working to the best, in the best ways. For some of you, Pisces, you're sitting in a comfortable position in Gemini season. Like, you're sitting in a position where you feel lucky for the things you have, you feel grateful for the things you have, but you also feel blessed and supported in the notion that you will be receiving much more. So you're not afraid of what the future is bringing to you, or not as much, because you believe that what is bringing to you is going to be even better from the things that you already have. And to end it, we have Aries, which has the Six of Pentacles. Some of you Aries might be of assistance to some people in your life. Some of you Aries might be either giving off money, resources, or other type of assistance and help, or as well receiving, asking for it. Some of you, there's a little bit of a need to balance the give and take, to not excuse people because they are in need of abuse. So basically, it's like to not allow anyone to play you through emotion, to present themselves as being incapacitated of doing something for themselves. You want to ensure that people are not relying on you to solve all of their problems. You can give a hand, you can give an incentivization, but you can't fix their problem. For some of you, you also might feel like you need assistance. Particularly, you feel like you need guidance about a situation. You might want to have a counselor in place. Some of you could be an issue with a relationship. Others of you is a situation, like a legal situation, where money might be involved, or other type of rights you want to fight for. You're very much associated with the desire to fight for things that are fair, that are right. And so when injustices and imbalances are felt or happening, you're going to have a reaction to it that is of wanting to put back things into balance, of wanting to put things back in the right track. It also is a time where you might be interested in, especially for Aries that obviously have the means to that, you might be interested in giving some of your, wealth away to help social causes, charitable causes. It's like you're not, some of you Aries are not very guarded in terms of material possession during this time. You're actually freeing yourself from certain material attachments. It's almost like feeling like you're a vehicle of opportunity to help others, knowing that by doing that you are also helping yourself and putting things in a more even place. For some of you, the give and take is also something that takes you to this notion that perhaps feeling like nothing is free, right? Like for everything there's a cost, there's a price. For some of you might be really interested in what's going on with economics during this time, so with the economical situation of the world. And materialism might be something that for some reason is very heavy on your mind, and that you might be interested in knowing more about, so you can know how to break a system that is limiting, or how to optimize through what you learn. So you are more in a situation that is more balanced in the material world. So I hope you enjoyed this Gemini season kind of heads up for all of you, our 12 signs, and for us collectively. I want to thank you so much for all of you that have been listening, subscribing, donating to my channel, and hopefully we'll see each other soon.